It was an unusually warm summer day when I decided to take my private beach for a quiet afternoon. The sand was warm beneath my feet, and the gentle sound of the waves was the perfect soundtrack for my escape. As I settled into my lounge chair, with a cold drink in hand, I felt completely at peace. But that peace was short-lived. Out of nowhere, I heard an all too familiar voice calling out, "Excuse me! Excuse me!" I turned to see none other than Karen from the HOA, storming down the beach toward me with her signature scowl. I braced myself, knowing exactly what was coming. Karen had a habit of policing everything, and today she was on a mission to enforce what she believed were HOA rules, even though I wasn't even a member of the HOA. As she got closer, I could see her shaking a piece of paper in her hand, the way someone does when they think they've caught you red-handed. "You're violating HOA rules," she yelled. "You can't just have your own private beach without following the community guidelines." I sat up, setting my drink down and looking at her, incredulous. "Karen, this is my beach," I said, trying to keep my tone as calm as possible. "I own this property. The HOA has no jurisdiction here." She waved the paper in the air again, seemingly ignoring the facts. "You're still violating the HOA rules. You can't just do whatever you want, especially with the beach," she insisted. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. I had heard enough of her rants to know this wasn't going anywhere logical. "Karen," I continued with a slow exhale, "the HOA doesn't own this beach. I do. I'm not even part of your association, so I'm not bound by its rules." Her face flushed a deep shade of red as she sputtered in disbelief. She wasn't used to being called out, especially by someone who wasn't even on her radar as a member of the HOA. She stood there for a moment, dumbfounded, trying to come up with another argument, but there was nothing left to say. Finally, she huffed and turned on her heel, muttering about unruly residents as she stormed off down the beach. I watched her go, shaking my head at the absurdity of the situation. Once she was out of sight, I leaned back in my chair, finally able to relax again. Karen's interference hadn't taken away the beauty of my beach, and no HOA could ever change the fact that I owned it.